You're watching QTV Breakfast, and of course, joining us now is the Patriotic Front media admin, Mr. Chandela Mukondo, as we take a look at quite a number of issues pertaining to national development. And this is the first time that he's actually showing off his face. He had to go on a leave the whole entire month of January, and now he is actually back in full swing as well. Comrade, Honorable, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure having you. Welcome back from your leave.
Thank you very much. It's still Happy New Year. At least we have rested
for the first time.
For the first time.
Happy New Year, definitely.
Yes, and with this COVID, I think it was a good period for us to also to run away from the challenge which is at hand. At least we kept ourselves health at home.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Otherwise, how has been your January?
No,
that was 2021 for you.
The unfortunate thing is that it has been a gloomy year, especially that we have lost we just used to hear about COVID. It used to be in the corners here and there, but now it's like death itself. It's staring straight into our eyes today, and it's a challenge. It's a big challenge. It's a huge challenge. It's not something which we can be excited about, but we continue surrendering ourselves before our Lord Jesus Christ. And I think we use the scripture, I think 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 4, where he's saying, bring all these challenges, anxieties before him. I think that's where we stand. So otherwise, January, it has been a challenging month, and then also the beginning of 2021 it has been extremely difficult in terms of the environment that we are in. So it calls for courage, and it calls for everyone to be responsible and participate in the fight against the COVID challenge that we have.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. COVID-19 second wave, something that I think late December, we just heard of it from other countries, is now in Zambia. And for the first time, Zambia is recording huge number of infections in 24 hours, 48 hours, and so on and so forth. What is just your take on the second wave of COVID-19?
The second wave of COVID, it is scary, as I've already said, and I think for us it's to continue emphasizing to our neighbors, to our relatives, that we continue following the international guideline, and that is to avoid the necessary travels, the necessary visits, and then also to make sure that we, at least for the time being, we abstain from going to church, and then also these funerals that we are having, because these are now the what they are calling as the major spreader of this COVID-19. But unfortunately, people have, if you go into town, the central district area of Lusaka, people have dropped the guard against the COVID-19. And the only guard that we have, it's the wearing of these face masks. And we continue echoing the same, that let us stand up against this COVID-19. And I think last year others were asking that maybe it's a political issue. It's something which has to do with politics. But today we are seeing that this is not a political issue. It's a health issue, and it's a big challenge, and it's in our midst. And as I said, it was something which we are hearing in the corners. Oh, in South Africa it's happening. People are dying. USA, UK, people are dying. Italy. But today we have a lot of people who have succumbed to the same. Like for me, I'm coming also from the Catholic Church. We have a lot of priests that we have lost to the same. Across the nation, I think in January, in the worldwide, we lost almost close to 14 bishops. And this is a big blow, especially to the levels that we have incurred the shock of this pandemic. So basically for us as a nation, we don't need to drop the guard. We need to encourage one another that we protect ourselves against this pandemic. And today I was dropping my children at school. It's also another challenge that we encourage our guardians and then also our parents, that as we are dropping our children, we make sure that we pack for them some sanitizers, and then also we make sure that the masking up is exercised and exercised to the maximum. And in cases where we have this predicament, I think even double masking now it's been encouraged. So basically, that's the situation. And as the Patriotic Front, as the ruling party, we are calling for all the stakeholders that we come together, we fight this pandemic. And this pandemic now, we all have faced one way or another, or we have experienced death one way or another. We have neighbors who are dying. We have relatives whom we have seen dropping dead. We have seen on newspapers big names. They are dying. Chiefs, they are dying. Priests, as I said earlier on, they are dying. So we need to come together as a nation so that we fight this pandemic. It calls for everyone to participate.
During the first wave of COVID-19, there was what I would term as, there was some vigor and, anxiety on the part of government. And I think we saw quite a lot of actions and strategies being put in place, closing up a few, sectors here and there, just to avoid, a situation where people should be found together. But second wave is here, which is projected to be more deadly. But on the part of government, we are not seeing, that level of, anxiousness in terms of approach towards this second wave. To what could we attribute that?
No, I think there is this terminology which we have been calling that living in the new normal. To start with, that is, the pandemic itself. It's part of us now. We have to accept that we are in this COVID environment that we are living in. And what is important is that we continue to practice what the health practitioners are telling us, and then also the Republican president, and through the Minister of Health, they have been preaching. So basically, I think the difference that we have now that this one, it's common knowledge. Everybody has the information, and the information you cannot depend on now government to continue preaching the same. Can you continue wearing masks? Can you continue practicing social distancing? And then can you continue sanitizing your hands? When we started, that was in March. We needed to emphasize on that, and we needed energy from the government to make sure that these things were demonstrated, and demonstrated in a right way. And I think that was the difference that we had seen in those levels of that energy. But for now, it's like everyone knows that COVID, it's here, COVID, and it will stay maybe even close even to 3 to 5 years now. And you don't need the government to continue whipping you. You don't need the government to continue forcing you. We are a democracy, and our governance, where democracy is involved, we talk about the dissemination of information. And the dissemination of information has to continue through institutions like you, and then other institutions of health that have been mandated to give the update. So basically, the situation as we stand today, somehow we have also developed some, also is it the immune system? Because this pandemic, we can feel it everywhere. It's everywhere. It's no longer the environment that we are enjoying, which was free of this thing. But today, as we are moving, you can even feel the air that it's no longer the same. You can even experience death itself, that the environment that we are moving in, it's no longer the environment that we had in 2019. So with what we have at the hand, and that is the new normal, we don't need to lose guard. It's now on each individual. It's no longer with the government, but on each individual has to participate into this fight. We have to make sure that we follow the international guidelines, and then also all the rules and regulations that the Ministry of Health is giving us. And then also we follow update. We avoid at all times the fears that are coming from the social media, like the WhatsApp groups. We avoid such. We concentrate on positivity, and we look at the recoveries. And when we had the first wave, we didn't know, we didn't have so much knowledge. But as today, we know that we can concentrate on the recoveries part, because if we look at the death, it will give us a gloomy picture. It will make us even not to move forward to continue contributing to the nation. But it's important, it's incumbent upon us that we contribute positively, so that we don't have what we had witnessed when the COVID-19, the first wave we had. And it really disturbed our economic life. But today we have this chance where we have been given these windows where we can continue operating in a normal way. But it's upon each individual that we fight this COVID. It's not the responsibility of government anymore. It's the responsibility of every individual. So this is where we stand today. We don't need somebody to come with a whip to whip us, but we ourselves, we have witnessed, we have seen the way it has happened with the second wave. We have been experiencing death in our neighborhood today. There's no one who is, it's no longer the way it was on social media hype, where people are asking, we are not seeing dead bodies, we are not seeing what, but today we can see things the way they're unfolding. So basically, death itself, it's in our midst, and the death it's staring straight into our eyes, and we can see it.
You talked about the laxity among people today, even when we have seen how dangerous the second wave is. Don't you think the concept of the new normal in one or the other might have contributed to people become a bit relaxed, looking at the fact that, wow, it's a new normal now?
Well, you know, it's very unfortunate, but there is no two way about it. The new normal is that we have to accept it, but it's that individual responsibility of making sure that this knowledge that has been made available through these social medias, which has been made available through this formal channel of communication, that they are exercised. We already know that we need to do social distancing. We have to sit apart at least a meter. We need to make sure that we wear this mask. We don't need to be suspicious about it. We need to make sure that we go to the nearest health centers to have these medical checks, so that you can have that information which can save your life. So basically, the new normal, it means that even if we were to stay at home, we won't make the pandemic to go away. In fact, we are going now to destroy both the economy, which will also set against our health. So basically, the new normal, the way it is, we continue working, but we need to practice the health guidelines. It's no longer the way we were used to move into the our working places without a mask, but we need to make sure that we protect our neighbors. So basically, the new normal, there's no two way about it, but we just need to live into this new normal. And you know, the guidelines are very simple. Let's wear the mask, which is the number one protection that we need to put in the front against this COVID-19. And then also, number two, it's social distancing. And the number three, and the others which are coming, it's like we avoid these unnecessary travels. We avoid attending funerals. We avoid going to churches and avoiding this overcrowding. So basically, this is where we are as we stand today.
How does the Patriotic Front really feel about the hot issue on social media today of having international election observers and monitors in Zambia during the 12th August general election? What is the stance of the party?
You know, I cannot outright say that this is our position, because there is the Central Committee which is mandated to issue such a final position. But as we stand today as the Patriotic Front, we are following the international guidelines. And the international guidelines, they are saying we avoid these unnecessary travels. And we are talking about when you are having these monitor people to come and monitor these elections, they will be coming from abroad. So I think some of these things we need now to monitor this election in a different manner. We need also to build the local capacity, and that is we can have our own local monitors. We have the churches, we have these other interested stakeholders who can do that on behalf of these international communities. And besides that, technology is there. They can virtually, these things they can be done virtually. Information is there, and we don't need individuals to come on the ground to come and dictate things for us. So basically, there must be that adherence to international guidelines, so that at the end of the day, we do not have unnecessary people coming in who can also bring in the same virus. So basically, you find that we have international observers who could be coming from America, and we know that in America, the COVID pandemic, it's in the West. The UK, it's the same. So you find that these people are the one who are champions of democracy. They are the worst hit. So basically, there is that antagonistic approach to this matter. So basically, as the Patriotic Front for us is that there is need to revisit the way we have been doing the elections. So we cannot, we don't anticipate things to be the way it used to be in the normal way. But under the same term, new normal, if people, they follow international guidelines, and then also the need of an individual coming here 14 days before that, so that it does not pose as a risk, we still encourage that we follow the international guidelines. Otherwise, our official position is that everybody has to follow the international guidelines, so that if somebody meets the international guidelines and our local guidelines, then we can see to it that we can observe this election. But what we know that the way it is happening now, we don't know. Maybe we are going to have even a third wave, because we had the first wave. Today we are talking about another variant, and we are talking of South African variant. Tomorrow we don't know. Somebody can bring another variant. It could be from India. There are people who are coming, international observers from Nigeria, from Kenya, from different places. So basically, it's a two-way thing.
Okay.
We follow the international guidelines, and then also we look at also our own, creating a capacity as a country.
On Saturday, we decided to raise that debate on our social media page concerning international election observers. Does Zambia need international election observers to have a free and fair election? What's your take?
To have a free and fair election, some of these things, I remember very well, there are some points which we have always raised as the locals also, because we are also observers, by the way. All of us, we are observers. And that is the number one thing. Sometimes you may bring these international observers, and they just sit in the hotels. They come all the way from Europe, they come all the way from the United States of America, or is it the North America, South America, India, wherever, those who have been sponsored. But at the end of the day, when they come here and they sit in these hotels, what are they observing? We have also had these challenges where we find international observers, they say the electoral process, like the way it happened in Malawi, they just say everything was okay, and after maybe a month, you find that the election, they have been cancelled, and they are saying we are going to have another election. So basically, it's important that we should think of it let's create our own capacity to do the monitoring. I think the thing of having international observers, it should be a thing of the past. We need to, I think we are maturing now. If you look at the United States of America, we don't talk about, America had to wait for foreigners to tell them that this is the report. I think this is the unfortunate part. We have lived almost close to about 30 years, which is a generation. So we don't need the international observers. We have institutions like you, the journalist. You are the third estate of is it the fourth estate of democracy, and also good governance. So basically, I think the debate, it's timely, and it's timely in the sense that we should now divorce ourselves from having foreigners dictating the way. You don't need somebody to come and approve, say that no, your election was okay. If you look at some of these by-elections we have been doing on our own, why is it that we have accepted them? Even when they come out, we accept that it was done in a transparent manner. Some of them we have had, maybe even some cases, maybe 20 local, 15 by-elections. And at no time have we involved the foreigners or other people coming from the outside world. So that perception of saying you need somebody to come and endorse your success or your democratization process or maturity, that I think it's timely that we should look at ourselves as they say, no, we are mature enough, we can do these things in a transparent manner. At the end of the day, we have the Electoral Commission, which is very independent, and then ourselves as stakeholders. So basically, as the stakeholders, we, the political parties, the churches, we are the right election monitors.
Interesting. Africa's democracy has reached at that stage where every election that comes, it could be in Zambia or any other country, there is always that aspect of rigging that is called, is brought up, especially by the losing team. Can we conclude that our democracy, or we are capable of handling a free and fair election, if at all every election comes with a rigging complaint? Just the recent election in Uganda could be a typical example. Bobby Wine cried foul. So maybe that's the reason why we feel with the intervention of international election observers, perhaps that's where now we can legitimize our elections.
No, look, this thing of rigging and whatever, it's not only in Africa, but look at the United States of America. That's why we had Donald Trump. Donald Trump went with a no. He believed that Biden stole the vote from him. So basically, if you look at the Democrats, which has been there for almost 2 centuries, they still have that notion of, no, there are people behind the curtains, these who control, these sponsors who are doing this and that. Basically, democracy, where an election is, where you expect such. But we don't have to give up as Africans. But we have, I've talked about, we have been here for about 30 years now. It's important that we look at ourselves, that we have matured up, and at the same time, we look at these examples like what is happening in Uganda, where people are 100% dependent on their popularity on social media instead of being on the ground. You find that opposition in Africa, they are taking advantage of social media, thinking that everybody is listening to them. But if you look at the statistics, you will find that 80% of our people, they are in abject poverty. 20%, they are the people who are voicing out. And you know, the 20%, they are the ones who are in town. So democracy should not be looked at only from the social media point of view. It shouldn't be looked at from Bobby Wine point of view. But we need also to be very objective in all this. Because if you look at Uganda itself, Bobby Wine is well known in the urban area. Just like the way it is even here in Zambia. Opposition is doing extremely good in these urban areas. But at the end of the day, when you go in the rural areas, they're not there. They are literally not there. And then also we have also this important aspect that we must also bring in. Those of having, I don't want to use this word stronghold, because in Africa in itself, we have this aspect of appealing also to other tribes. So basically, I think it must, democracy, when you are bringing in this aspect of leaguing, whatever, it all depends to also the regional politics. The way it happens also in here in Zambia, if you look at the southern region, you will find that the HH will be enjoying extremely almost 90% of the vote in the southern province. Can you call that this is rigging? No. So basically, the issue of rigging is not here and there, but it's important that as we are advancing in our democracy, we need to incorporate also technology. As we are incorporating technology, we should not 100% substitute other variants, other variations. We need also to bring into the aspect of regionalism, which at times people would think it's a league election, but in actual sense, people are voting as a bloc. So basically, in Africa, we have these many determining the factors, or is it the benchmarks, which other people forget. And at the end of the day, they just know it was rigged. But in actual sense, if you look at it, it's regionalism. Just like the way it is in Uganda, there is an aspect of regionalism. The incumbent president, has been there for a long time. And then also the social media aspect, which is more like, very much appealing to the people who are in town, as opposed to those people who are in rural areas. So the premise on which rigging can be placed, it's very difficult. So basically, a very good example is that one of the United States of America. Rigging is not only in Africa. Rigging is also in these advanced economies. It is also in these advanced countries. Everywhere people would think that there is rigging. Some of them, I think, they have been on neck to neck. Like the way it is even happening, is it in Burma? We have now a coup d'etat today. So it's because of the same perception of rigging. So basically, I think there is need also to the process of going into digital, and 100% digitalization will also help us. And where there's also 100% digitalization, you know what happened in the United States of America in 2016? They said there was a suspicion by the Democrats. They said Russia came in, it manipulated the election process. So basically, it could be here and there is this thing of manipulating the vote, but I think if you are popular, you win outright.
As we wrap it up, would you accept an election defeat as a party without international election observers?
Well, who are we? If the people of Zambia have voted us out, who are we to refuse? It's the people of Zambia who are voting, who will be voting for us, who will be voting us out, not the international observers. So basically, with us as the Patriotic Front, we are a democratic party, and we believe in the tenets of democracy. It's not here and there.
Are you confident in our local observers, such as Caritas Zambia, Gears Initiative, the church, and of course Yali and other interested party who also play the role of offering checks and balances to the government, and also play the role of being an election observer? Are you confident? Do you have confidence in them?
We have confidence in them because this is the reason why we have left them to continue operating in an environment which is free of any intimidation, and an environment which is giving them that freedom to participate, and they have been participating freely. At no time have you ever heard that the Patriotic Front has sent its cadres, its hood of cadres, to go and stop Caritas, to go and stop Gears, whatever. They have been there freely operating. So basically, we have confidence in our own local players, and it's important that our local players, they should jack up their tokens, and then also their sleeves, so that at the end of the day they will be ready to give the people of Zambia what they deserve. So basically for us, we are ready, and we have been encouraging our own that they observe the way the Americans, they have been doing it, the way UK do it, the way the European, the way they do it. They don't need these international observers to come. So it is even here in Zambia, we can have this change. We don't need somebody to come and sit in Intercontinental to be drinking coffee. After all, you'll be getting information from you. You will be the same people be feeding them. Because these people, they don't even know where Kanyama is. They don't know where Chawama is. They don't even have any idea where our polling stations are. They will be waiting for information from you. And when they are coming here for the first time, you cannot even know anything. First time means first time. Everything, it will be first time information. So basically, we need our own people. We need our own gear. We need our own Caritas. We need our own church. We need all these observers who are already acquainted. These people have been talking about the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the extension of days. No, this and this. All these people that have been participating in the democratization process. These are the people that we need to. Because monitoring of an election does not start on the actual day. It starts almost a year before it comes to culminate to the single day where we cast our votes. So basically, we have already these interested stakeholders who are already doing that special role. And we don't need somebody to come abroad, make money out of their heads. So basically, we are appealing to the international communities. Instead of bringing those people out there, can you please fund our own? Can you make the resources available to these people, gears, these critters, Zambia, so that they can have the resources to monitor these elections freely? So our appeal is to the international community, instead of you sending the resource persons to Africa, to Zambia, can you make the money available? Can you make the resources available to these independent observers so that they can have vehicles, they can have fuel, they can have extra manpower to help to monitor the situation? And then they can submit these reports virtually to the whole world. So basically the world has changed. We don't need somebody to come and sit in intercontinental. They can still sit abroad there and observe what is happening here. So it's a Google world.
Honorable, thank you so much for making time, to talk to us this morning.
Well, it's so humbling to be here, and I'm extremely happy that this is my first interview with you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, you're still watching QTV Breakfast. We take a very short break. We'll be back shortly.